Land has gotten expensive. For new homesteaders, the cost of owning a farm, or even a few acres, can often deter them from their dreams. Today, we are going to talk about a way you can purchase land cheaply. Hi, I'm Amy, and welcome to my channel. I lived off grid for 29 years on two different farms. Both farms were purchased using land contracts. This video is about my experiences and the pros and cons. So, cheap land is not often going to be your dream homestead. Typically, it's going to be just land in a rural area. Although, when doing some research for this video to make sure I was up to date, I did see some options with buildings. So, the reality is that buying a home or property isn't that easy. I was working as a teacher, but was a single parent and could not get a bank loan and was pretty much laughed at even though I had a full-time job. So I started exploring ways that I could buy land without a bank loan. Land without any buildings is often sold in rural areas when farms have been subdivided. These divisions may have tracts anywhere from 3 to 100 acres. And while I was sad to be part of farms being divided, it did give me an option. They are sold via land contracts or owner financing, in addition to conventional bank mortgages or even just through real estate offices. Having goals is important, although you may have to alter those goals to meet your budget. But know what you need. For instance, when I purchased my Kentucky farm, there were no electric lines or water lines on the gravel road. Yes, that's the road, not the driveway. They did put in electric lines the following year, but I was already using solar. Make a list of what you need. You can pause and read these questions or make a list that suits yourself. So now that you have your goals, you need to figure out how to get there. Since banks just laughed at me, I used a land contract or owner financing to purchase both of my farms, one in 1993 and the other in 2003. So a land contract is where you deal directly with the owner of the land. There is no middleman involved. A land contract, also called owner financing, is a written sales contract for a piece of property. With a traditional mortgage loan, you borrow money from a bank. With a land contract, you borrow money from an individual or small company. There are lots of pros and cons, just like anything else. In a land contract, the buyer does have a title to the property, but it is referred to as an equitable title until the land is paid for. The seller holds the deed until the property is paid off. You file your land contract paperwork with the county. This establishes you as the legal buyer. So some of the pros are, this is a great option for people who don't qualify for a traditional mortgage. Land contracts are often much easier to get into. You still have to show you have an income and can make payments, but it's much more accepting and flexible. Another pro is it's much more open to the type of housing you can build. Be sure to check out the zoning and required inspections. You can check out my article on composting toilets linked below to read about my own personal battle there. Payments are much lower if you just buy land, so that frees up money for building projects. If you are interested in gardening and self-sufficiency, check out my book, Kick the Grocery Store Goodbye, linked in the description. Cons. A bank has to follow more rules and regulations that protect consumers. Land contract sellers are bound by some regulations, but not nearly as many as banks. Land contracts often charge very high interest rates that may be well above national averages and don't necessarily give you any services for those fees. One tip that I did was to make extra payments to be applied to the principal. That way, I cut down on my interest. Road maintenance. This comes into play if the property is located on a private road, which many of them are. The land company may state that they will care for the road, and then they do not. In my case, one of my neighbors took over road care. This may mean you are paying, via the interest, the land company for a service you do not receive, and then you may pay the neighbor for their service. Speaking of neighbors, land contracts are often located in poorer rural areas. I lived next to a drug dealer, and it was pretty interesting. They actually caught their house on fire once cooking meth, so definitely things to consider. Another con: you are starting from scratch or close to it. There is a lot of hard work to do, and you can tell from experience and I can tell you from experience, it takes 3 times as much time to accomplish a task as you think it will. I did some research since it's been a while since I purchased land, but I found plenty of options. This screenshot is from landwatch.com. So I just searched for Kentucky and owner financing, and 133 listings appeared. I don't endorse this site or any other, but they are one resource for seeing what's available in the state you are interested in. Check out local newspapers of areas that interest you. Many rural areas still have weekly print editions. Drive around the countryside. It's amazing how many people just put up a for sale sign. A must is checking out the local farmers markets. After all, these are likely to be your people. If you plan on growing or selling produce, it's a good idea to see what varieties they are growing and how much they are selling things for. Water is essential, so when looking for land, a water source is a number one importance. If you are interested in tips on how to evaluate land for homesteading or more tips on how I did things off grid, just leave me a comment below. I hope this video has been helpful and you are one step closer to finding your dream property. Check out my playlist on homesteading. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a fabulous sunny day.